All right. So, good morning to you, my sister Marina. How are you today?
Morning. Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's a real pleasure, and it's lovely to have you on a day when the sun is out and it's just uplifting the mood in
I know.
London. Yeah, that's it. So you're in the office today?
I am. I'm in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and just you talking about the sunshine. So I've got quite a long commute. I'm outside of London,
Okay,
but it makes such a difference when I'm just on the train and the sun shining coming into London.
that's
Lifts the
it.
mood, doesn't it?
Definitely. It also helps when the days are a bit longer as well, and you're not leaving the office when it's dark, coming
Yeah,
in when it's dark as well. So
exactly. Makes such a difference.
all of that good stuff. Well, most of the people that join won't want to be hearing about our chat about the sunshine.
I'm sure it will.
So if it's all right with you, just a brief intro from me, and then I'll turn it over to you. But like I said, thank you so much for joining me this morning. As you know, this is all about sharing the stories of others that have trodden the road less traveled or walked along that path, with a view to seeing is believing. If other people can see what you've done and hear a bit about your story and gather any sort of insights along your unique journey, then more power to that, really. So that's really the aim of it, and hopefully it's a relaxed chat.
Yeah.
I've got my coffee. I don't know if you got the memo, but if you haven't, I'll flip one for you as
I should have
well.
bought my coffee, but I've had loads today. Don't worry.
Okay,
Don't
so
suck on the caffeine.
that's it. Brilliant. So if it's all right with you, maybe we could start with a bit of a takeaway from you in terms of your career journey. So where you started from, and then where you got to, and then I'll make it interactive. I'll jump in with any questions just to keep it flowing.
Of course. So over 15 years of experience in financial services. The majority of my career was spent at JP Morgan, so an accounting background in fund accounting. And then I'm at Man Group now, which is a publicly listed hedge fund. And I've been here for 7 years now. So started off in accounting and did a pivot into compliance. And now I run our KYC, so a compliance team within Man. So
Wow.
quite a varied career, done lots of different roles, and both sides of the ponds have done asset management and also banking.
So you've done buy side and the sell side.
Yes.
And then accountancy. Are you qualified as an accountant?
Yes, ACCA. Yeah.
Oh wow! So you did that too. And
yes,
then
it took me forever though. Yeah.
You did it. You got it.
Yeah.
You got it. No one can take the letters away from you, which is great. And for people listening, they may be like, "Oh my God!" From accounting to KYC, which I understand to be know your client.
Yes, correct. Yes, it's due diligence on clients of Man's. Yeah.
Yeah. And the transition between the two, like what are some of the similarities, if any, in that? Because it'd be useful to just try and explain to others who are listening, like, you might think, I can't pivot. I need to stay in my lane. I'm an accountant, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm whatever,
Yes. And it's a good question. I'd say in the day-to-day work, not much similarity. KYC and compliance, I think, is a lot more varied than accounting. And some people, they're more suited to the structure. So you've got month end, quarter end, year end, and they like that structure. But I think the type of person I am, I just like to fix problems. So even when I was in operations and accounting teams, I would always lean towards projects or client solutions, things that are outside of the standard BAU, and look for things that I can fix really, or improving processes. So I think I've taken that same skill set even into a compliance role. So I think the transferable skills that I certainly have are the same, but the day-to-day very different.
Right, I can imagine. And you do, as many do when we start talking, they kind of play it down a bit, because they sort of talk about like actually what they do, which is fine, which is true. But in terms of your actual title now, what is your role?
So I'm global head of KYC at Man Group. And yeah, I run a team. So head of all of our KYC activity, both where we conduct KYC on prospective clients and also external counterparties doing KYC on us. But we sit within the COO office, so I report to our chief of staff at Man. So yeah, quite a senior role.
We love to see it. We love to see it. And so I'm sorry, I had to pause to give you the
No.
flower.
Thank you. It's a long way to go though.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
to be delayed is not to be denied. To be delayed is
no,
not to
I
be
like
denied.
that.
So unless you're retiring next week, there's
I
still
know.
time.
Tell me about it. I wish.
That's it. And just if I'm always curious about sort of people's backgrounds. Like for the longest time, I've wanted to claim you for the Ghanaian diaspora.
Ah,
Uh,
no, I
I know
wish.
I feel my heart's about to be broken, but hit me with it. Where do you
I know.
originally your heritage and your background, your family originally come from?
Gosh, such a long story. Caribbean heritage.
Hmm.
So, and I'm a very much open book. So Caribbean heritage, my mum, and it's a mixed. So I've got St. Lucian, Dominican, and Guyanese in me. So fully Caribbean. But my ex-husband is Nigerian.
Okay.
So I'm the mother of two half Nigerian children
Hmm.
and spent a lot of time in Nigeria. So a real affinity to West Africa. I've got lots of friends that are Ghanaian. My best friend is Ghanaian. I've been to Ghana lots of times.
Hmm.
So a strong affiliation with Ghana, but no, I can't claim the heritage. But who knows? I don't know where my ancestry is from. I should trace it one day. It could be.
Yeah,
Could have
maybe. I
Ghanaian.
mean, the Guyanese sounds like Ghana, but I mean, I know it's
Yeah,
not. But
we can
you,
claim it.
you, you name it and claim it. That's it. But definitely, I suppose that sort of the energy that I felt when being around you and stuff is that yeah, I could claim you for West Africa, but Ghana specifically because we
Yeah,
have the jollof that is the jollof. But
I like that.
it makes sense. It makes sense that you've got
Yeah.
close ties there. And were you born and raised in the UK?
Born and raised in London, West London, born and raised single parent home, so raised by
Mhm.
my mother. Big family though, so big Caribbean family on both sides. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's smashing. Talking a bit about the backgrounds has been useful just to set the scene and give us some context. And
Yes.
there were many reasons why I was really, really keen to talk to you, not least because of your position as global head of KYC at Man Group, which is, said publicly listed hedge fund, been around for many, many years. But it is part of what I do is just talking to people who've taken the opportunity to pivot towards a purpose that is a personal passion to them or supports the wider community or in fact the world at large. And
Yeah.
I had to talk to you because I think how I came to know you was really through EnCircle.
Yes. One of our mentors, favorite
Yeah, as
mentor
one.
of ours as well. Thank you for the time you give us.
Thank you. I'm gonna send you a hamper. I'm gonna send you a hamper. Is the work with EnCircle, being one of their committee members, but also Bridging Barriers
Yeah.
as well. So I just wanted to just ask you actually, what was it that got you into that? Because your job is not exactly without its challenges, so we put it that way.
Yeah.
And so, as you say, you're raising two children, you've got a demanding job, the pressures are multiple and varied, but yet you've still found time to do those extracurricular, shall we say, activities. So could you tell us a bit about what was your call to move into mentoring or start supporting mentoring organizations?
Yes. It's a good question. So I think if I just look back at my own career, I've definitely benefited from mentors and
Mm,
sponsors. I don't think I'd be where I am today. Don't think I'd be in this industry without the time that people have put in to help mentor me. So
mm,
I've always appreciated the impact that mentors could have on your career. I got more involved joining Man, and if I'm being completely honest, I came from JP Morgan, which was on the face of it very diverse, huge bank, lots of affinity networks and employee resource groups. So there was a black network which I could go to and find a safe space, and lots of events like
mm,
black MDs and role models. And then coming to Man, which is obviously a smaller firm and arguably less diverse. It
mhm,
was a bit of a culture shock for me coming to this firm. So I put my hand up to start volunteering in the DE&I space, diversity and inclusion, helped launch our Black Employees Network here at Man. It was really important to me. And then through that, I just met more people. So Justin, and because he was one of the people that I met through launching our Black Employees Network, he came along to the event and gave great encouragement. because we had quite a fiery panel that was very open and direct, not common within this industry on the topic they were talking about. So he was really impressed and then asked me to get involved in EnCircle. And when I found out the goal of EnCircle and EnCircle is focused on helping those already in the industry take the next step in their career. So anyone that wants to progress and take that next step, and it's through group mentoring, and the sessions are run by senior mentors in the industry, predominantly Black senior mentors, which within our organizations, we don't see that within our own organizations as a role model. And it really just appealed to me because, one, it wasn't firm specific. It was independently run by people that were passionate about making a difference in the industry. And it was cross company. So it just felt like a huge reach that we could get and a big impact that we could make towards the industry as a whole. And it sort of snowballed from there. When you see the impact and feedback that you get from people and the difference that you make, it just makes you even more passionate or want to be involved. But I think that was the calling and the draw, was just to give back and appreciating that people had dedicated that time in their careers to give advice to me. It's only right to pay it forward, I think, and help others too.
Yeah, that is fantastic that you've seen that, because I suppose on the one hand, it's the awareness of without others' support, you wouldn't be where you are. But then I think for me, what I love to see is when you turn thought into action, insofar as it's all well and good to think it, but I can be, and I know many can be, masters of procrastination. And there's always life will always be life in, right? So you could always have said, oh, maybe next year, or maybe the year after, or the year after, and then, you know, you're not doing it. So yeah, fantastic that you've not only heard the call, but you've done something about it to sort of do that. And when sticking with the sort of programs that EnCircle and maybe Bridging Barriers offer, could you share some of the highlights that have been sort of personal to you in terms of the work that you've done with them, through them?
Yes, I think just from a personal and selfish perspective, it's seeing the impact that and the difference that you make in people's careers and lives. So we see a lot on EnCircle where people will say that they've got promotions or they've got through a tough time within their organization just based on a mentoring circle and being inspired by others that have taken that path and overcome certain obstacles. With Bridging Barriers, I've been a mentor to 2 individuals and also a huge supporter of that program. And Bridging Barriers focuses on people trying to break into the industry, so really at the student level, as opposed to EnCircle for people that are in the industry. And there was one guy, the first guy that I mentored, and it was just relentless. He was getting knockback after knockback when it came to CVs, assessment centres and job applications. Like, the numbers were through the roof. And then to see he then landed a role in Vanguard in the end. So to see that even just me, and I don't claim any I was no help whatsoever, like he got it on his own merit, but the fact that I could be a sounding board and encourage him that, you know, this industry is all about resilience. This is building you for, you know, the knockbacks are building you your resilience levels for what will come later on in your career, and you have to just keep at it. It's a numbers game. The more you apply, the more you'll get there. And just being a coach on the side to encourage him, it's so rewarding to see him now flourishing in this industry and landing a role. So yeah,
that has given me all the feel, the goosebumps. I think if in life you can make a difference like that to just one person, like winning, you know, win.
And that's my goal. It's never been some big, you know, movement. It's if I can just encourage one person to stay in the industry or to believe that they can do it, then my job is done, because someone did that for me.
Definitely. And when you talking about, you know, encouraging him and the resilience that was required and the rejections that he got, it made me think of something someone said to me, that rejection can often be redirection in disguise.
Yes.
Does that sit with you?
It does sit with me, and I'm a firm believer of everything happens for a reason as well. And I think that's that mindset and the belief has helped me overcome a lot of rejections just within my own career, to believe that it's not for me, that's why it hasn't happened, and something else is coming that's better. So I think that just, it helps me not internalize it and feel like I'm failing or not getting there, and just believe that something will come along.
Brilliant. And for people, because I'm still on the EnCircle and that I know, but also with Bridging Barriers, for people that are sitting there thinking, oh, I like the sound of what Marina's just said, and I'd love to give back, and I'd love to support the next generation, be it at the start of their careers or wanting to accelerate or elevate themselves, how can they get involved? Like, what can they do?
Yeah, so for Bridging Barriers, you can sign up as a mentor. I'd recommend anyone do that. They have set programs, so I think it runs for 6 months or so, where you get matched with someone and can mentor them. So even if you're worried about time commitment, it's a set period of time, and if you choose to continue that relationship, you can. And then EnCircle, it's about coming along to our events, spreading the word. If you work in organizations, getting them to sponsor EnCircle so that we can do more events and impact more people. And then also just passing that on to, if you've got especially young Black professionals in your firm that you feel could do with the support and additional guidance and role models, and you should get them to sign up to EnCircle and come to our events, because as well as the group mentoring piece, it creates a network and community at our events as well. So sometimes it can feel lonely being the only in this industry, so going to an event like that where you see a community of people that look like you and arguably have been through the same personal experiences or similar, I just think it's something that should be encouraged and supported.
Brilliant. But as I'll remind myself live here, but it'd be good to get the links for it. So when this finally goes live, I'll put those where this is shown so that people can find a way to access. And
yes, definitely. We've got websites and LinkedIn pages, so definitely we can share those.
There's every opportunity and no need for excuses. And I have to say, like, having come to a few of the events, but also being on panels and done sort of group mentoring, the network is phenomenal and so inspiring. Like, I really wish that there was such a thing when I was coming through my career, because I think it's only in the last probably 5-6 years or so that I felt comfortable to lean in that space of being Black and in financial services. I don't know what it was, but there was some sort of reticence to kind of acknowledge or celebrate that. And I don't know if you've had a similar transition or whether that's unique to my quirkiness.
Yeah, no, it's not unique to your quirkiness at all. I think a lot of people have said the same, especially at our levels of careers and how long we've been in the industry. A lot of people have said, if only I had this when I was coming up, it would have made such a difference. I think there is a pressure on us, and especially back then where there were just so few of us, to feel comfortable in this industry and like we can bring our full self to work. So I don't, I completely, it resonates with me, and I know exactly what you mean. I think I've been, just as a person, I think I am just quite bold and like make a point of, I know I don't perform really well if I don't feel comfortable. So I've got this brashness, I think, of talking about my culture a lot and showing that I'm proud of it. So I'll be the person that says, why are we not doing anything for Black History Month? I think I like being provocative and pushing boundaries. So that streak is in me as well. So I've been in teams where, you know, at one point in my career, I was running a team that was all white male, and I couldn't have felt more uncomfortable because I didn't even have the experience they had. They'd been at the firm a long time and I'd come in to take over. So it was a very uncomfortable situation, but instead I just leaned into more the fact that I was a woman and I was Black and pushed it in their face even more because that's my way of dealing with it. I know it's not everybody's.
I love that.
Rather than try to conform or hide it away, because then I just don't think I don't deliver well when I'm hiding a part of myself.
No, I subscribe to that view totally around, you know, encouraging people to bring their whole selves to work. And in the coaching studies that I've done, one of my favorite things that my clients will tell you, I say this often to all of them, is the potential minus interference equals performance.
Yes.
And
Yes.
what I say to most of them, because they're, CEO, CFO, they're MDs, they're doing the thing. So it's not like they can't perform, but I put in brackets like higher
To
performance
remove.
before. Yeah, higher
Yeah.
before performance. And I see that interference coming in so many ways. And I think the energy that I spent in my earlier career, really trying to force myself to assimilate, really suppressing, my
Yeah.
rich and vibrant heritage.
Yeah.
When I stopped doing that, like I just felt so light and
Yeah.
able to move. And I'm the full understanding that there will be those that are like, what the heck?
Yes.
And there'll be people who will be like, oh, I actually trust this guy because I now see he is who he is,
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
just
Yeah.
hearing that.
And it comes to the point that you made earlier around believing that I can't remember the phrase that you used, but like disappointment or something not going to plan can be redirection. So I'm always of the belief that if this place doesn't accept me or like who I am or what I'm bringing, then it's not the place for me as well. So having that in my mind just allows me to be myself a bit, but I'll also appreciate it's easier said than done. So I'm not saying I bring 100% of myself to work. There are some things that the Marina outside of work and around my family would be completely different to the Marina I bring into work. So I'm not saying it's 100% me, but there are elements in me that I just refuse to shy away from. And I'll give an example. So when we first launched the Black Employees Network, and they have a summer party at Man Group every year, I remember going to the COO at the time and saying, you're having it in August. It should be like a Notting Hill carnival theme party. We need still pan. We need Caribbean food. I want to taste test the food so it's authentic. And so that might seem like such a minor thing to do, but I felt like such a sense of accomplishment that, I brought a bit of my culture that I felt was authentic, not, I don't know, something not so authentic that you see some people do as a tick box, but it was actually run by a Black person of Caribbean heritage that signed it off. And it just felt, also we were supporting Black businesses, so getting a still pan band in and the catering. It just felt like we'd done something that was good and brought us a piece of us in. And I had so many Black employees come up afterwards saying, gosh, that was the best summer party. Not even just Black, white as well.
Yeah.
So I just think it's important sometimes to lean into who you are. And like you said, people were receptive to that. So it got me closer to the COO because I think she just respected the fact that, one, I was, brash enough to ask, and two, I was being authentic and helping change the culture at Man. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh, congratulations on that. And we will talk about it offline as to where my invitation. I'm here for it.
Sorry, we'll do an EnCircle party. We need to do all that. Can you imagine what that would be like?
Get my hair and my nails did, and I'll whatever vibes you're going to be bringing. I'm chief vibes officer, so I'll be for sure. So I do want to get onto some of the personal journey you've had. The one other thing that made, when you were speaking, I wanted to really explore with you is I try not to watch the news too much because it's not really positive.
No.
But whispers have reached me that there are some organizations that are rolling back on initiatives that are inclusive, equitable, and support their diverse employees. And some may say, and differences of opinion are there to be had. Everyone's got one. Some may say, why do you need Black-only resource groups or mentoring associations that are, as you said, a safe space for Black employees? Direct question, and I know a bit controversial, but what would your reply be with regards to that?
It's a good question, very topical, very controversial, probably. I think I'm in a fortunate position at Man Group, and I can say this like wholeheartedly and honestly, that our CEO, is very vocal on this. She's a champion for diversity, inclusion, belonging. And she takes the stance that it's all about getting the best talent, and she can't deliver best for our clients unless she has the best talent. And she doesn't believe that best talent comes from one pool of people or one university or one subgroup. So because she wants to cast that net really wide, she needs to attract people that are different, and then she needs to retain them. and employee resource groups and having those safe spaces and supporting people that are different within this industry is all part of that strategy. So she very much takes, for me, it is a personal, obviously I've got a personal lived experience, and I'm very passionate about it, and it's personal to me. But even from a business perspective and everything that's going on, that's the stance that we've taken at Man Group, and that comes from the very top, that it's about talent and retaining talent and getting people to perform at their best. And we just talked about the fact that we have that interference or hiding a part of ourselves, and it doesn't mean that we can be high performer. It's impacting our performance, which surely isn't good for the business and end clients in the end.
Yeah, that's really well put, considering you're on the spot totally.
I know. It's something that we talk about a lot, and it's important to me. And
I think so, because I think a lot of firms were, if they still are, maybe talking about the attraction of diverse talent, and look, that can be across all shades. It can be sexual orientation, it could be any of the protected characteristics. But what I don't see and hear of as much as I would love is really the retention piece, and I think that plays directly into the bit about belonging. Like, if you will come because they'll pay you and they'll put you on this program with this and that, but will you stay? And I think if you don't stay, then really it has defeated the purpose, because you haven't really added value before you move on. And so for me, I feel it's an imperative that we continue the good fight to make workplaces more inclusive, so that everyone can bring their best self, because we'll have the best parties, we'll bring the best food, we'll do the best work, we'll make the most money, and then no one's got to really worry about, oh well, if someone gets to come in, then, because one of my was an American friend of mine said this, really, it stuck with me. I'm going to try and repeat it, but she said that for her, D&I is not about lowering the bar, but about widening the gate.
Yes, definitely, exactly. I like that. And it's never been a compromise of not having the best person for the role. It's exactly that. It's making sure that everyone has an opportunity to get that role, and you're widening that gate, an opportunity for everyone. And then, like you said, once they get in that position, how do you make it an inclusive environment so that they can stay and succeed and progress in that? So there has to be a strategy and focus on that, I think.
Definitely. Well, and we could go into this conversation, but as I said, and I think this is useful, and it's thought-provoking as well. But something I did want to explore with you was just around the leadership piece, because you mentioned that you've got a team. You've mentioned having a team where you came in as the woman, new, black, all white male. Like, when you reflect back on some of the key lessons of leadership that you've picked up along the way that have helped you to not just visit the top, but stay at the top. As Pat said that, I love it. Could you share a few of those sort of things that have really helped you that might be helpful to anyone listening?
Yeah, I think, and I've done a lot of reflection on leadership and what type of leader I want to be, and being comfortable with accepting the type of leader that I think I naturally am. For me, it's about leading by example. It's more of a coaching style. So I definitely lean into trying to get the best out of the team and being very supportive and finding out what they need. And I think that's why I succeeded at the other team I mentioned, where I was so different. I didn't come in approaching it as it's my way or the highway. I'm the new manager and this is how it is. I came in with the fact of, I don't have more experience than you guys. You guys know this inside out, but there must be things that can be improved. How can I make our lives easier? How can I make processes more efficient? How can I help here? So I took on a lot of feedback from them in terms of things that they were disgruntled by or not happy with, or they wanted to improve. And that was my focus. And how can I support them to be high performing? Making decisions quickly. If I look back on my career and things that frustrate me about some leaders, it's not making decisions quickly enough. So it's the procrastination on some things. And then I think on the flip side of where I found it more challenging is just I think there's a perception that leaders need to be forceful and dominating and telling people what to do, and that's just not my style. I'm not a micromanager. I give a lot of trust to my team, and sometimes I can feel that I'm maybe too soft a manager, and that's it's not been fed back to me, but it's something that I have at points in my career worried about. Am I too soft? Should I be harder? Should I be more aggressive? But that just isn't my style. So I've lent into what's comfortable for me, and it's worked so far. I've always had high performing team, and turnover's been low. So it's obviously working in terms of retention and keeping people. And that doesn't mean that if you've got someone that's not performing, you don't address it quickly. So that's obviously my focus. Giving feedback regularly, I think that's really useful, and it's something that when I look back in my career, I've definitely benefited from constructive feedback.
Yes.
I think that's it. Those are my main reflections on leadership. So leading by example, open lines of communication, good feedback, and just being supportive to your team members. I think they need that cover and encouragement.
I really like the way you've sort of laid that out. What I see overarching all of that comes back to something we've been talking about, which is actually doing it your way. So, authentically, as Marina would do it, as opposed to, I need to slam the table, I need to throw them away.
Yes.
I really get the sense that that's what you've tried to do over the years, just do it in the way that's most comfortable to you.
I think so, yes. And it's taken a while. I think we all evolve as leaders. When I look at early in my career, when I was first managing a team, I wouldn't say I was a leader. I was definitely a manager. So I've done a lot of work on myself and research and coaching to figure out what type of leader do I want to be, and am I naturally, being comfortable in that and not swaying just based on other styles of leadership, which might work for other people. It just doesn't work for me.
Yeah, that's important. Having that time to think and then set your course according to what is important to you is so powerful, because I have to say to clients, they're like, oh, I want this change, I want that change, I want a new job. And I'm like, well, back before we had our phones that would tell us where we're going.
Yes.
Find your way. And they're like, oh, I have to get a map, and I'd have to look at it, plot the route, and then try and commit it to memory or have the page open and do that. And I'm like, it's just the same with any change you want to make in life. How can you know where you want to get to or how to get there if you haven't even sat down to plot out the destination? So the fact that you've taken that time to think and reflect, I think is evident in how you're doing things now. So thank you. Those are really useful nuggets. You love that?
Yeah, I do. I'm going to be thinking of that, the map one, because I'm all for planning and having goals and objectives. So I love that. The making a plan for yourself, and I think it helps give you direction. So
yeah, absolutely. Otherwise, life will do life, right? We'll be on the treadmill and we'll be running fast to get the next carrot, the next bonus, and the next this, and then one day we retire and we're like, oh,
where did it go? Yes, exactly. Yeah. You have to be intentional. You definitely have.
Yeah, absolutely. Has to be intentional. And just coming back so I guess that's a macro level from a leader. If we come down to the micro level in terms of you and the journey you've had, little bits have been sprinkled into the conversation. But if you look back at some of the challenges or the obstacles that you've overcome, are there any that particularly stick in your mind that you're really proud to have sort of navigated around, under, over, anything like that?
I think the biggest obstacle, I would say, or challenge that I think I'm still navigating is juggling children, being a mum, and a career. I think and that will probably be my challenge until I retire. Especially when, I just think throughout my whole career, that has been one of my biggest challenges and obstacles. And I don't know if I've overcome it. I've definitely pushed through and keep going. But there are times, most times probably, that you feel like you're not good at either. I feel like I'm not a good enough parent, mum. If I have to miss a sports day or something that I can't go to because of work, and then sometimes you feel like, you know, you're leaning too much on the family side and I'm not pushing ahead at work, or I'm not that good, or it's compromising my day job. So it feels like a constant juggle of trying to juggle the two and not being high performing at either. But I've learned to be kinder to myself and accept that I'm doing the best that I can and leaning into both. And I don't, this idea of complete balance or this optimal balance, I just don't lean into that. And I lean into, there are times when I'll be more heavily weighted towards family because something's going on, or the kids need me, or and I set boundaries on certain things that I won't miss, like parents' evening, performances, Christmas performances, ballet shows, and different things that they have that I just are my non-negotiables. And then there are times when I'm probably leaning too much to work and I might work on the weekend. But I've just accepted that it's a blended life between the two.
Definitely. It definitely is. And in terms of the kids, how old are they now?
So I've actually got 3 kids. I've got 3 kids.
3. Wow.
I know. 3 and a big age gap. So I've got a 13-year-old, an 8-year-old, and then just had a 1-year-old. So I've done 3 maternity leaves in this industry and come back. My last maternity leave, so that the KYC team, I'd established the team, set it all up, and then went off on mat leave. So I took 5 months out, had to still keep in touch with the team and come back. So it's a constant juggle between home life and work.
I'm in the crazy gang too. So I also have 3 children.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Don't look it right.
You don't.
Ole is what. but I hear you on that. And actually, there's this. I don't know if you read it. It's by my finger. Have you read this one? Principle.
No. I've seen some of his. I know who he is. I've seen some.
Yeah. So
motivating tips and stuff like that. Principles.
Yeah, by Ray Dalio. So in here, he talks about something which I think might strike a chord with you, where there is a spectrum, and on one end of the spectrum is save a life, and on the other is make an impact. And he says that we all sit somewhere on that spectrum, and the work to remain where we are on that spectrum is work respective or relative to us. But of course, the more you go towards making an impact, and I see this with leaders that I speak to, and see your good self, the more you go towards making an impact, the more you will face tough decisions, really tough decisions, whether that be for your personal well-being, whether that be your family's well-being, whether that be, do you relocate? Do you push for this other job, which is going to come with X, Y, and Z? Do you sacrifice, your physical fitness? Can you afford to take that step back to go forward further? And so when you were saying it clicked with me that actually that I'm not surprised with what you say, because you're certainly not just doing the standard, which would be admirable, of got a family, just get just a job, I just do a job. You're doing other things, and in that I could see how you're going to have these moments where we've not done this before, you haven't been a parent like before, and then it comes up and you've got a job that makes an impact, you mentor, and you're with EnCircle, and then you've got a family, and what do you do? And so that conflict, I think, is always within us when you're on that spectrum.
Yes, I like the idea of that spectrum rather than balancing scales. And that is true. We do move depending on what's going on, and I've made peace with that. I think it's I've got 3 girls. So I think for me personally, it's really important for them to see me as a role model as well, that if they do choose to pursue a career, and also when they if they do come into this industry, hopefully it looks better by then for all the work that we're all doing. I'd like to be hopeful that we're role models to our children for all that we do.
You absolutely are, and that's why I really wanted you to come on here. I show my girls as well, and they say, look at Auntie Marina.
They need to do better than me.
She's not in Ghana, but we're still going to call her Auntie Marina. That's how we were raised. So that's how
I know. I love that.
So For me, I think I wanted to just check in with you. Apologies, my cat has decided to do some WrestleMania behind me right now.
Don't worry.
Can you hear that? Or?
No, I didn't know.
Okay. So I really wanted to delve into some of the tools that you've used to elevate yourself just professionally over the years of your career. Are there any things that have been particularly helpful, separate to, the mentoring, which you definitely talked about, that might help someone listening today?
Yeah, mentoring is just a big one. Investing in my network. So I think I'm really good at developing relationships and maintaining those relationships. I think relationships are so important, especially in this industry. It's a people industry, and most of the opportunities I've had or intel that I've got going for a promotion or a role has all been from people in your network or relationships you've had. So I think that's something that's, especially when I look at early career professionals coming up, it's something that I see that they don't lean into enough or don't value enough. Like they're more heavily weighted towards the technical and working hard. And I think it's really valuable to invest in relationships authentically, genuinely. And then I was trying to think of any other tools. I'm a big reader of self-help type motivational books.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and a lot of those, just help me, I think, just focus on things, career-wise.
Yeah. Okay. So the self-help and the networking, and I don't know what has got into me recently, but I've started to get an allergic reaction about the word networking, but the context that you've placed it in, I'm down with.
Yes, definitely. And I get, I'm by nature, I'm an introvert. So the thought of going into an event where I don't know anyone, that gives me anxiety. So it's not that sort of networking or trying to work a room and add me on LinkedIn, and that's not what I meant. I mean, where naturally you've worked with someone on something or you've met them through something, like we have through EnCircle, and it's organic, maintaining that relationship and keeping in touch with them. And if I'm going to meet someone, or I know someone going for a role and I can see they were at a firm that you were at before, connecting and using that network in a meaningful way, so not just the surface stuff of networking.
You've explained it as I feel it. I'm less transactional, more relational.
Yes, exactly.
So, because I think people often say network, but I think it's doing things authentically without keeping receipts or expecting something in return. And then just genuinely being interested in people that you meet. If you are, if you're not, then keep it moving.
Yes. No, absolutely. And when I think of some of the more junior people that I've got good relationships with across the firm and the industry, it's not come from them messaging me, can you give me any tips on? It's them taking a natural interest, or we've bonded over, a similar interest in something else, or we grew up in the same area, or there's some just natural connection, and we genuinely meet just to check in on each other or have a conversation. So I enjoy their company. And then in return that builds, and then of course if they need anything, I'm willing to help or tap into my network. But it is something that's more organic and genuine than just the networking.
I love it. Like my mantra that kind of aligns with this is to use my joy as my GPS.
Yes.
And when I say this, I'm a simple man, so I keep it simple. There's the 3 P's. So it's the people, the places, and the pursuits that uplift me.
Oh, I like that.
Where I feel good, where I feel there's no competition, there's just peace of mind. That is the main thing. That those 3 areas of my life is where I intentionally look to spend more of my time than anywhere else. And if it's not like, I'm out. And then when you get all 3, so let's say it's EnCircle, you're there, and we're talking about something that's uplifting. It's like the fruit machine jackpot where
it is.
It's like that,
all the stars have aligned. No, I agree. I get it. And there's some events or people that I don't invest my time in purely because they suck
Mm.
my energy. And it's nothing personal
Mm.
to them. We're just not aligned
Yeah.
for whatever reason, that I just feel drained after being in their company. And I protect my energy a lot. So I just, won't,
Yeah.
especially with all the juggle that I've got, I won't, give that type of situation a lot of my time.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad. I knew this why I knew we're
You can just
related.
tell, exactly.
So I'm keeping a close eye on the time so we can land our airplane, because it's floating high and we've gone in so many, for me, lovely directions that just flow naturally,
I
because
really enjoyed it.
a lot to share that is really useful. Um, when we look to the future, and I know it's hard to predict, but what are maybe some of your hopes and aspirations for Bridging Barriers, the work you do there, but also EnCircle?
Yeah. So it's a good question. So both of them, which is it's a challenge, but obviously great for both initiatives, is that they have more demand than they can meet. So
Mm.
for EnCircle, there are sponsors that want to sponsor, and we just cannot give them in-person events or roll out any events. We're capped out on our sponsorship. There are mentees that sign up, and we get over 400 people sign up, and we'd love to accept everyone and invite everybody, but event spaces are limited, as you know, and health and safety, so we only get to allocate like 200 places. And the same with Bridging Barriers. There are more mentees signed up than there are mentors. So I think the
Okay.
future is on both initiatives looking at how we can meet that demand, because there's obviously a huge demand on it. We're making a huge impact. How can we reach more people and impact
Mm.
more people? So it's really scaling up both programs. Kevin on Bridging Barriers and Justin on EnCircle, they're busy working out a strategy, 2.0 of how to scale both programs to make more impact and reach
Yeah.
more people. So
Yeah.
my goal is just to support them both in the pursuit, because the more people we can impact, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with EnCircle particularly, because I know it more, but having the mix between the in-person events where you are limited, but then the virtual ones, which I've spoken on as well, where
Yes.
any number of people can join and interact and ask questions as they've done in the previous ones, I think
Yes.
is a good pivot. But yeah, we'll keep thinking, and maybe there are bigger opportunities for like a summer get together or something where more people can come and we could do something. But the ideas will keep.
Yes,
Good
they
to know.
will. And it's limitless as well, because at the moment we're focusing on asset management, but we've had, like the legal profession reach out and say we'd love to do something similar. It's the challenges are, they translate industry. So
Mm.
even we've looked at different jurisdictions as well in the US and Africa, and how can we impact people that have similar obstacles and challenges to overcome in the workplace.
Yeah.
So the themes are being, they're universal, so we can impact different industries, different jurisdictions. It's just us working out how to scale it. And obviously we're volunteer run, so all of us are doing this off the side of our desks out of passion,
Yeah.
and it's become this just massive initiative, which is obviously great to see the impact it's had and how well it's been received. But now we just need to scale it to impact more people.
Yeah, and it will happen. I think with such multi-skilled, passionate people involved in it, it can't help but evolve naturally and continue to make the impact. Because I often, when I've come to events, like the reach out rates and the people that just let me know like how impactful they found it, it's honestly it's so heartwarming, and I can't regret. I never regret the past, but I will say again, I just wish there was something like this.
I know where we were coming up, definitely. I know. Exactly.
But yes, sometimes you get to drive on the road, sometimes you got to make the road. So
yes.
it is.
And now you're part of the making, because we wouldn't be if we didn't have mentors like yourself volunteering their time and sharing their experiences and being so open. I don't know if back then people would have been so open about their experiences. So yeah, it's the right time, and we're making a good impact.
Absolutely. No, I definitely, like I said to you earlier, I was not that guy. You may have invited me and I'd be like, oh no, I'm just not to be
Not to be seen.
anything.
Yeah.
I'm not here. I'm just, I'm just head down. I'm just doing my job. I'm not anything. But yeah, lastly, I think I'd love to know, we talked about the impact of the Mentoring Association, but if you think back or think ahead to, when all is said and done, and I didn't actually ask you the future for you, because you said, I'm still growing. What would be, is there a role that you would like to see yourself in, or a goal that you've got around that? So
That's such a good question. And I do have a goal, and I'll always have a goal, but I'm also very opportunistic. So like I said, I started off in accounting and now I'm just in compliance. That was never the goal. I think for me to get to senior positions in C-suite, COO, maybe not a fan, we're a huge fan, but I think down the line, either starting my own business at some point or being a COO somewhere, really like to help drive the business of a smaller firm. I think that would be the end goal for me. But again, that's just something to aim for, which helps me when opportunities come up or when I'm looking at what skills I might be missing to get to that point. It helps give me some focus, but I'm not wedded to that. I'm very opportunistic. So who knows, another opportunity might come somewhere else and it sounds like a great role and it suits my skill set and I feel like I can bring something to that role. I might consider it. But, at the moment, I'm still just juggling between the two games. It's survival mode with a 1-year-old. So I'm not even thinking of that long-term plan. If I get to work and the kids are at school, childcare, and no one's sick, I've made it. Like, that's as far as my
that is as likely as you winning the Euro Millions with 3 children. You've got a bit of.
I feel like I've hit the jackpot and I'm winning. I'm flying. So that's the bar is very low at the moment.
No, I hear you. Survival or surviving, soon to be thriving even more. But actually, I just wanted to go down a level with you on that, because again, I said about savoring life, relaxing, and making an impact. You've said that it would be to be a sort of CEO or C-suite, run your own thing. Like, what motivates you to do that or have that as a goal, really? Because everyone's different, right? So it'd be nice to get inside Marina's head a little bit.
Yeah, for me, it's just to be in a position, and the title doesn't do that because I still do that now in my role, and I've always done that. You can be a leader in any role. It's just to be in a position where you feel like you're driving change. And as I said, you can do that anywhere, but really setting the culture, driving initiatives, driving change, be in a position where you can hire lots of people and steer the direction, which is why you lean towards an exec role, where you're at the table, where the direction of the firm you can input into. But by no means does that not mean that you can't contribute in any role. I believe that leaders are leaders, even in junior roles, you can demonstrate your leadership. So that's and that's it from so Justin's very good at, so one of my mentors, I have to give him props for that, but very good at when we have our sessions of working out my goals and the different pillars. So yes, that's on the work side of what my goal is, but then I've also got an impact, because I do a lot when it comes to social impact and mentoring. So I've got goals when it comes to that as well. And then as a mother, so really important to me, mother, daughter, the family life. So I see it as 3 pillars and 3 different goals that I'll have, which change depending on circumstances, but that's the overarching plan.
No, that's incredible. And it's great how you stay opportunistic and also flexible around that. One of my mentors some years ago actually said to me that stuck with me, that God draws straight lines with crooked sticks.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what kind of metaphor you're using here, but I need to marinate on this one. And then when I reflected on it, realized where I sit now and maybe where you sit now, like, we didn't start off with that as like, I will be global head of KYC at
no,
because you wouldn't have done accountancy. But But in that analogy, you know, with the straight line, the crooked sticks, it's our career trajectories can take many turns and pivots if we remain open to it and aware of the fact that different opportunities will bring different learning experiences, challenges, but also networks to be built, whether it's across sector, in the same sector, buy side, sell side, as you've done it. So yeah, I like that you're open-minded, because sometimes we don't know what we don't know, and if you stay closed-minded, the opportunity bus may drive past you and be like, no, I'm not looking for that bus, I'm looking for something else. So.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And I think that, you know, how I see it as my end destination is where it is. Yeah, I don't know what it is or what God has planned or the universe has planned for me. Hopefully it's something that I can make a lot of impact and do a lot of good and inspire others. But how I get there, I think I will get to that destination, whatever opportunity I take in the end. That's what I'm destined for. So I just look for opportunities that will help develop skills and get me one step closer to wherever that end goal is.
Yeah, again, I love it. And who we become in the pursuit of our goals is often more important than the goal itself.
Yes.
Ironically. And I hear you saying yes. It sounds like that's something.
Yeah. No, absolutely it is. It's all about the journey. I think so. And if I look at, you know, if I look at back, like you said, where we first started, did we think we'd be here? I think the odds were stacked against me. Like I would have never thought, and forget even the position or where I am, but just being in financial services. Like I never grew up with, well, my mum worked at City, so that's probably a bit of a lie. But that if she hadn't have worked in City, I wouldn't even known where Canary Wharf was or a career in financial services. It wasn't something that I had a lot of exposure to. So growing up in school, and many of my friends are not in financial services. So I just think you have to take opportunities. And I remember even going to JP Morgan, and I had a friend that said, oh, don't go and work there. It'll be the worst thing ever. Like those banks are sharks. You'll be working till 11 o'clock at night. Like everyone, because I didn't have anyone that I knew in that industry, would tell me that will be the worst mistake of, you know, my life. And it would be disastrous. But yeah, I took the chance and thought, what's the worst that can happen? If I don't like it, I quit. And it wasn't as bad as people said. So I do take opportunities as and when they come, because I don't believe that I can make a bad decision. I believe I'm guided by something else. So if it wasn't meant for me, I wouldn't get the job.
100%. Now, my last question for you, because I'm gutted actually. I want
to. We need to do a separate coffee and catch up.
Yeah, we do it again. But my last question for you is, you know, look, when all is said and done, and you look back on your life that you've lived, professionally, personally, what would you like your legacy to be?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I don't know the term. I need to get comfortable with certain words. Like the term legacy sounds very, to me, it can sound a bit self-serving, like I'm leaving a legacy behind. But it's to what we said earlier. If I just can impact one person and make one person feel like they can do it, or inspire one person, then I'm happy and I've done my role. And what's interesting is you've inspired me to do something. I didn't ever reach out. So just another word for any listeners, that sometimes you inspire people you don't even realize, because they might not loop back to tell you that you inspired them. But it's important to put stuff out there and share stories. You had and this is not mentoring, but you had a post, I remember, and you talked about Age UK and befriending.
Yes.
Do you remember that a while ago? And you had talked about speaking to someone and how important it was. So when I moved out to Buckinghamshire a couple of years ago, I thought, oh, I can give back to the community by signing up with Age UK. That was your post stuck with me.
Oh, wow.
And I've been matched with someone for the last few months, and I've got so much out of it.
Yes.
She's someone that lives on her own, and she's quite lonely, and I'm from a big family, and so just meeting her once a week, I feel like I'm making such an impact in my local community as well. So I think it is this like snowball and chain effect, that just sharing your story of something that you've done inspires people wider than you might always see or realize the impact that you've had on people. So yeah, thank you for inspiring me. So if I can do the same and just inspire anyone, and whatever it is, to do anything good. So if it's to progress in their career and push through, and then therefore pay it forward and inspire someone else, then yeah, I feel like I've done some good. And that's my goal.
I thank you so much, and I'm not I'm a bit clumsy when it comes to accepting these kind of things, especially if you didn't tell me you were going to mention that.
No, sorry, yeah, I just
so it's okay.
I
don't sit in it for a second, but I would say that I'm delighted that that's been something you've been able to do, and the older generation have so many pearls of wisdom stacked in there. And I'm not trying to make all the mistakes, but I do my fair share of mistakes. But if I can keep someone company and at the same time learn, it's great. But my last book recommendation for you that really, I think, kickstarted my whole alignment with, the way I try and do things now is a book by a chap called Mitch Albom. It's called Tuesdays with Maury. And
I've heard of that, but I haven't read it.
Yeah, it's about, what is it, 277 pages. So it's a quick book. And Maury knows he's dying. Mitch goes to see him every Tuesday, and they talk about life and thoughts, regrets, all this sort of stuff. And the one line that just literally, I think, has transformed my whole life, I don't even say this lightly, is when Maury says to Mitch that when he looks back on his life, when he's felt the most alive is when he's been giving. And for him, giving is living. And even as I say it now, it was a moment where, like the Marvel comics, you see all the flickering and all the action like that. Like I could just think back to all the CSR events, all the times I'd helped someone, mentored, helped someone with a new role, all of that stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I love that. That is it. This is when I feel alive. And maybe that sort of correlates with your giving as well. But I just decided to really be intentional about, like, the people, places and pursuits. Let that be one of the pursuits that I try and major in. And life's been brilliant as a result of that, because it's not about what I can get, but like, what can I give? Because then that is the give back. That is the legacy, the impact to change the word for your benefit.
I completely agree. It is in service and giving. And I just think that the opportunities that I've been given, however small they must be for a reason, and it's to impact someone. And that doesn't always have to be on the the scale of a mentoring platform or contributing. It can be your local neighbor or a friend. But otherwise, why else? It can't be just about self.
No. Well, I can't wait to watch your continued progression with interest, because with the mindset that you've got and the dedication to giving back, I know that whatever you do presently and in the future, it will have a huge impact on so many people. Some will tell you, like I will tell you, like I love the fact that you have me on the mentoring program, but others won't tell you, but quietly they'll be walking around saying, yeah, Marina showed me the way. So
thank you, Kofi. I'm not alone though. That's what's good. We've got lots of us that are understand the responsibility and also the impact of giving back, you being one of them, and there's lots of us in the industry. So I think we should all support each other as well, because it's not so easy sometimes.
No, well, you're right. I would love to just let you have that bouquet, but also say that teamwork is that dream work, because if you want to go fast, do it by yourself. I'm a big believer. I just Usain Bolt and I'll sprint. But if you want to go further, then it requires, an element of collaboration, synthesizing of thoughts and strategies, etc.
Yes.
So yeah, teamwork is that dream work, and giving is living. Giving is living.
I love that. I'm going to take that forward and use that now as my new motto: giving is living. And I'll be sure to read it. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, and good luck with killing it. Global Head of KYC, Man Group, mother of 3, EnCircle, Bridging Barriers. You're doing the things. So thank you so much for sharing some time today.
Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
No problem. Have a great day, and we'll speak soon.
Bye, Kofi. Bye.